Salvador Domingo Felipe Jacinto Dali I Dominic, Marquis of Dali de Pobal, better known as Salvador Dali, was born on May 11, 1904, in Figueras, Spain. Salvador was a well-known set designer, sculptor, draftsman, engraver, writer and especially a great painter. He is considered to be the greatest representative of Surrealism for his pictorial creations of dreamlike, eccentric and bizarre, loaded with symbolism. Dali was born as the second son of a bourgeois family. The firstborn Salvador Gallo Anselmo died 9 months earlier. The fact that they shared the same name, added to that his parents indicated that he was a reincarnation of his brother, generated in Dali the impression of being a copy that replaced his brother, which made him live with a strong personality crisis. In 1908, his father decided to enroll him in the public school of Parvulos of Figueras. However, due to the school failure that his son presented, he transferred him to the Hispano-French School of the Immaculate Conception of Figueras, where he acquired knowledge about the language French, which would be of great help for his constant trips to France later on. Around 1916, Salvador Dali had his first approach to painting when he spent some time in Cadaqués, where he would meet the family of the local painter Ramón Picho. These allowed him to see the artist's collection, bringing Dali closer to Impressionism. Besides this encounter, Dali would also attend the painting classes taught by Juan Núñez. In 1918, Dali's ingenuity had allowed him to learn quickly both Impressionism and Cubism. The following year, he presented his first works in a collective exhibition of local artists in the Municipal Theatre of Figueras. In 1919, he also served as editor and writer in Studium magazine. He would also start writing a diary about his memories and reflections. In 1921, Salvador Dali's mother died because of uterine cancer, a fact that represents an emotional blow for Dali, especially due to the fact that his father married Salvador's aunt. Besides this, there was the opposition from his father to allow him to study painting. Dali would have to do it in Madrid, in the Royal Academy of Fine Arts, in order to be granted the title of professor. When he accepted this and moved to Madrid in 1922, he stayed at the student residence, where he established a friendship with Federico Garcia Lorca, Luis Buñuel, José Bello, among many others who would be considered recognized figures. Since his arrival at the School of Fine Arts, Dali stood out for his paintings as much as for his eccentric image similar to Josep Margarit and Diego Velázquez. Towards 1923, Dali was expelled from the academy because of an argument with one of his teachers, which made him return to Figueras to continue receiving instruction from Juan Núñez in the modality of engraving. In 1924, he returned to the academy, being forced to repeat courses. In 1925, he diminishes his attendance and for 1926 he would be expelled definitively after announcing that there was no teacher capable of evaluating him, emphasizing the incapacity of all of them. In the same year of his expulsion, Dali traveled to Paris where he interacted with Pablo Picasso and Joan Miró, joining the latter in a surrealist group. In 1927, Dali presented some of his paintings in an individual exhibition at the Dalmau Gallery in Barcelona. At this time, he started showing the first features that would constitute his particular style, absorbing all influence of classical art and his contemporaries to mix and enhance their technique. Also, at that time he let his characteristic pointed mustache grow. After an exhibition of art at the Gomes Gallery in 1929, Salvador Dali gained greater recognition for a style of painting that seemed to go into the psychic depths of man. However, this got him expelled from the group of surrealists. Also in this year, Dali would collaborate with his friend Luis Buñuel for the creation of the short film Un Chien Andalou, an Andalusian dog, and in August of that same year he would meet the wife of Paul Eluard, Elena Ivanovna Diakonova, known as Gala, who, later on, would be his inspiration and wife. Dali joined the surrealist group of the Montparnasse district of Paris, influencing the development of the artistic movement through the paranoiac critical method, which consisted of using paranoia to create relations between objects that are not normally related. Around 1930, Dali stopped talking with his father, because of his father's opinion on his commitment to Gala, besides regretting the bond of his son with the surrealists, since they were blamed for the moral degeneration of the people. The issues with his father culminated after he kicked him out, disinherited him and forbade him to return to Figueras. The following year, Salvador Dali would buy a small house that he would expand, located in Portliga. In this year, he would create one of his most recognized works, The Persistence of Memory, which is known to be a representation that defies time. In 1934, Dali and Gala were married by civil ceremony, and in 1958 they would do so again, but this time in a ceremony held by the Catholic Church. The devastating influence of the Second World War in the year 1940 forced the couple to flee to the United States, where they lived for 8 years. In 1941, Dali delivered a screenplay titled Moontide to Jean Gabin and also established a professional relationship with photographer Philippe Halsman. The following year, Dali would publish his autobiography under the name of The Secret Life of Salvador Dali. In the 1940s and 1950s, Dali's paintings focused primarily on religious themes, reflecting his abiding interest in the supernatural. He famously claimed, "I am a carnivorous fish swimming in two waters, the cold water of art and the hot water of science." He aimed to portray space as a subjective reality, which may be why many of his paintings from this period show objects and figures at extremely foreshortened angles. He continued employing his paranoid critical method, which entailed working long, arduous hours in the studio and expressing his dreams directly on canvas in manic bouts of energy. Dali became quite reclusive while encompassed in his studio making paintings. Yet, he continued to step out to orchestrate stunts, or what he called manifestations, that were just as outrageous as before. Designed to provoke, these performance-based interactions reminded the public that Dali's inner imp was alive and well. In one, Dali sipped from a swan's egg as ants emerged from inside its shell, in another he drove around in a car filled to the roof with cauliflower. When his book The World of Salvador Dali was published in 1962, he signed autographed copies at a bookstore in Manhattan while hooked up to a monitor recording his blood pressure and brain waves. Customers left with a signed copy and a printout of Dali's vitals. He also made a number of commercials for televisions and other media for companies such as Lanvin Chocolates, Alka-Seltzer, and Braniff Airlines, casting his star power far and wide. In the 1960s, when Dali came to New York City, he always stayed at the St. Regis Hotel on Fifth Avenue. He made the hotel bar practically his living room, where parties raged throughout his stay. At the time, Dali had an entourage of strange and charismatic characters that he spent his time with. Andy Warhol, another eccentric collector of outrageously wacky humans, also spent time with Dali at the St. Regis. In one legendary story, Warhol brought a silkscreen painting as a gift to Dali, but the older artist threw it on the ground at the hotel and proceeded to pee on it. Rather than get offended, Warhol supposedly loved the whole episode. The group that Warhol later put together at the factory was considered a modern evocation of the setting Dali produced earlier. The last 2 decades of Dali's life would be the most difficult and psychologically arduous. In 1968 he bought a castle in Pobble for Gala, and in 1971 she began staying there for weeks at a time, on her own, forbidding Dali from visiting without her permission. Her retreats gave Dali a fear of abandonment and caused him to spiral into depression. Gala inflicted permanent damage on Dali after it came to light that, in her senility, she had marred his health by dosing him with non-prescribed medication. The physical damage that Gala wrought on Dali hindered his art-making capacity until his death. After her death in 1982, Dali experienced a further bout of depression and is believed to have attempted suicide. He also moved into the castle in Pobble, the site of her death. One of Dali's most important achievements during this rough time was the creation of the Dali Theatre Museum in Figueras. Rather than donating a single work to the city, Dali said, "Where, if not in my own town, should the most extravagant and solid of my work endure, where if not here?" The municipal theatre, or what remained of it, struck me as very appropriate. In preparation for the museum's opening in 1974, Dali worked tirelessly to design the building and put together the permanent collection that would serve as his legacy. Dali epitomized the idea that life is the greatest form of art, and he mined his with such relentless passion, purity of mission and die-hard commitment to exploring and honing his various interests and crafts that it is impossible to ignore his groundbreaking impact on the art world. His desire to continually and unapologetically turn the internal to the outside resulted in a body of work that not only evolved the concepts of surrealism and psychoanalysis on a worldwide visual platform but also modeled permission for people to embrace themselves in all our human glory, warts and all. By showing us visual representations of his dreams and inner world laid bare, through exquisite draftsmanship and master painting techniques, Dali opened a realm of possibilities for artists looking to inject the personal, the mysterious and the emotional into their work. In post-war New York, these concepts were incorporated and transformed by abstract expressionists who used surrealist techniques of automatism to express the subconscious through art, only now through gesture and color. Dali's use of wildly juxtaposing found objects to create sculpture helped shake the medium from its more traditional bones, opening the door for great assemblage artists such as Joseph Cornell. Today, we can still see Dali's influence on artists painting in surrealist styles, others in the contemporary visionary art spheres and all over the digital art and illustration spectrums. On January 23, 1989, Dali died of heart failure while listening to his favorite record, Tristan and Isolde. He is buried beneath the museum that he built in Figueras. His final resting place is 3 blocks away from the house that he was born in and across the street from the Saint-Père church where he was baptized and had his first communion. We hope you have enjoyed reading Salvador Dali biography, and we hope it's inspired you to new discoveries. If you liked our video, please like and leave a comment. Also, please subscribe to our channel to always be the first to know about new videos.